Hi folks, I'm Nathan with Two Guys to Ride, and today Rob and I are here in Des Moines, Iowa at the Good Guys Car Show, and we're here with Rick and an awesome build behind us. So Rick, just basically tell us what the car is right here.
Okay, this is a blend of a 1969 RS Camaro nose grafted onto a 1970 rear tub.
Okay, so there is a great story behind this car, and then we're going to go over because there's so many fascinating details on this car. But this did not start out this way because you've owned a Camaro for years.
What?
And you went to every show, and what happened?
Well, I've had nice cars, but every time I'd go, there'd be 10 of the same car I owned, other than the wheels and the air cleaner and the color. It was all the same. I just got tired of looking at the same thing, and my goal was to make something that was, when I go to the show, I have the only one there.
Okay, so you started out with a 70
Correct.
Camaro, and then you added the 69 and a half front end.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
But you did so much more on this. So let's just step back for a minute. I like the fact that even though it's an earlier front end, you left the split bumper in.
Yes, yes. There's people that don't even notice that it's there. They say they.
I think that's a nice nod.
Yeah. We didn't want anything normal, so try to trick people all the time there. So.
Now,
Yes.
Inside,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got, I would call it like an aircraft billet kind of a look here, because you've got like what I would call aircraft rivets.
Yes, sir.
Even when they're not needed.
Yes, sir.
That's just, I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at the details. So tell us a little bit about the work in here.
Okay. Well, first I got to thank the crew that did this for me. It's Steve and Chris Williams of Lorenzo's in Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
Incredible craftsmen. They come up with a lot of ideas. When we grafted the 69 to the 70,
Yep.
there was no way to put wheel wells in it. And we already had the car caged. And so they come up with designing all these panels and stuff to fill it in. That way, the water isn't, splashing around and
Right.
stuff. And then it has an LS engine.
Okay.
But I don't think they're very good looking, and we wanted to do something different then also. So we did the older style Hemi valve covers. They're from the 50s.
Okay.
And they adapted those just to cover up all the stuff, and it really turned out well. And they made a fancy air cleaner and stuff.
It looks beautiful. I also like all the, where you tubbed it, all the holes that were punched out or drilled out and then finished.
Yes.
Sort of a machined, again, that aircraft look.
Yes.
You got that on top of the radiator too.
Yes. Yeah, that's where it kind of started there.
That was the culprit that plunged your head.
Yeah, once we started on holes, and then the guys, those Lorenzos, they followed up through everything there, and then the next thing they did when the cage was there, they put holes between the cage and the roof of the car.
Yeah, you can see them going right up.
Yes, and then it just blossomed from there. We had to follow the theme then. So
I love this. Even in your cap here,
yes,
they've been drilled out. And then the arms for your hood mount.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, those guys are incredibly talented. They even got it so that you can just push this button there and you lift the radiator out, and just incredibly talented people. So
that is really neat. Approximately how much horsepower are you producing?
This isn't real high. I'd say 450.
450.
450.
Yeah, it's enough to get you around.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It'll go around the parking lot here. Yeah.
Especially on a day like this, you can spin your tires forever.
Yeah, I can.
All right. So I love the hood.
Okay. So I got a process here. Okay. So we added this here, the 69 nose. Okay. Then the hood wouldn't fit. So the hood is a 1978 Trans Am, Pontiac Trans Am. In order to follow this up here. Okay. Then when the boys at Lorenzo's got done, the motor the hood wouldn't shut. So then we did this 73 Roadrunner scoop. We used that there because I felt that it pointed down and it actuated the split bumper.
Yes, it does.
Just something different. And then they did the stripe then also. Yes.
Man.
Yeah. So.
I love the hinges on the hood.
Yeah.
Those are really cool too.
Yeah, those are Ring Brothers. They're the brand. So
Man,
yeah,
even just your air, your
the air intake. Yeah, yeah.
that's just wow. All right, let's take a look around the side here. I love the wheels,
Okay.
the rims that you put on those,
Yep. Yep.
and then you got what kind of brakes?
6-piston Willwood brakes on the front. Yes. Yep.
Wow, good stopping power.
Yes.
Right on the side here.
Okay. So this is leaning more towards the airplane theme.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we put them on the scoops here. We have small wings down here on the bottom.
Yep.
Okay. Then they continue. Okay. They are stock 70 Camaro mirrors, but they designed handmade the brackets themselves. Yes, kind of gives you an airplane look then too.
Yo, absolutely.
Then we drilled holes just in the handle itself to make that. And then when you look down the side, it follows up in it with the wing, the spoiler part.
I love that because that to me looks so much like the on the airplane wing when they pop up.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you've got the same kind of struts and everything that these pieces right here.
Yeah, no, it really turned out well.
Ties in.
Yes,
Man.
yes.
Wow. Okay, so let's come around back because this car just keeps getting better as we go. All right. So we were joking earlier that despite the fact that you've got a nice 450 horsepower engine in the back,
Yeah.
you've got an electrical plug-in for the battery part.
Correct. Yeah.
Is that what is that?
It's just access. If I wanted to, if it's in the trailer or whatever, there I can hook up I could jump it off of that there. I don't even have to
Oh,
because the
you
battery's
can.
kind of buried in the trunk.
Hey, we were halfway right. But we were joking. It was battery powers from the rear, just to make it different, right? Okay.
Maybe that's next week.
Now, the next part is just funny. I'll just let you guys look at it on camera because this is,
Okay,
putting little touches here and there that just people don't notice until they look at it and go, oh, that's
That's actually a battery shut-off switch.
okay. I love it.
Yeah, you'll have that.
Now,
Okay.
coming around, you've got this side right here.
Yes.
Are these actual marker lights?
Yes.
They're just flush fit into the body?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they do that. It's just, it's like Lexan,
Okay.
and it's real thick, and it's not near as hard as you think. It's about 1/4 inch thick. You drill the hole, you stick those through there, and then actually the Lexan sticks out about 1/4 of an inch.
Okay.
And then they just do the body work right over it.
Really?
Then it just sand it down.
Yeah.
And it gets it turns white. And then they tape that off when they paint the car. And then when they clear it, it's just smooth then.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, that's just incredible. Wow.
Yep.
All right, now
Okay.
moving over to the gas tank.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. So the reason we had to do that, we put the independent rear suspension in it.
Okay.
You can't see very good with the mirror, but anyway, and it really looks neat from the back of the car.
Okay.
And exhaust comes out the back. Well, then there's no place to put a gas tank.
Okay.
So then we put the gas tank underneath the speakers.
Okay.
And then if you see that tube there,
Yeah.
that's why we have to fill it off the side. So I have just a little bit of trunk space there. Yes.
Yeah. What do you need trunk space for? You got cup holders.
That's true too.
Come on, Rick.
Nice cup holders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice cup holders. All right. So you're continuing that built-in theme up here, even with the speakers.
Yep.
And then tell us a little bit. I mean, I know what I think, but I look at that brown leather,
Right. Okay.
and I have a particular item that pops into my head.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's supposed to appear we're with like an old bomber themed
See?
interior.
That's what I was going with.
Where
that
we're right
bomber
on the
leather
money there.
jacket.
Yes. So what we did is kind of stayed with that, and then the holes would be lightweight, like the airplane, theme type thing there.
Okay.
And it's all real mechanical, nothing real fancy or anything.
No, but I absolutely love it. I mean, that's just like the perfect color for the car that for the theme that you're going with. I mean, and you've come up with some really neat thing. I mean, this cup holder,
Yeah.
seriously, you got to market that.
Yeah.
I know how many guys would buy that off of you.
Yeah.
You could pay for your next car, Rick. You're doing that.
Yeah.
All right. I love look at the transmission, the shifter.
Yeah. Those guys at Lorenzo's, like I say, the same ones that did underneath the hood did the dash and that kind of work also.
And that is just beautiful. Now the gauges themselves,
Yes.
Are they
Oh,
custom built?
yeah. Those are called Dakota Digital.
Yeah.
And what they did then, they made the bracket. They made the dash anyway, but then they made the bracket to hold the actual gauges themselves.
I love the fact when you look at the welding joints. I mean, it's everywhere on the car where you, I mean,
Yeah.
not of the body part, but on all the added parts,
Yeah.
where you have that more of a rough look
Right.
than a completely smoothed
Right.
out finished look,
Right.
right?
Yeah. They don't polish any airplanes.
No. See, that's my point. But I mean, just that little touch of a detail everywhere just goes to show the length to which you thought this out. Now, there's we'll come back to the interior in a second, but this reminds me of another story that you were telling me about. This is kind of one of those cars that's like, I mean, it's your car, and you in your business you met many people who restored cars, did work, and you kind of would loan out the car to say, well, they're going to do something, and then they had friends, and so tell us this little story.
Well, the guys that was really doing a lot of this stuff, they would, as the car progressed, uh, and their friends would be over to their small shop and this kind of stuff, then they would come up with ideas. And then they say, I think we ought to do this. And then it'd already be half done when I got there. I guess we're going with that.
So this is a case where we had 2 beers and we thought this would be a good idea, and after 4 beers it was even better, and by 6 beers it was done.
There you go. But when they're telling it like that, man, I really love their thoughts and stuff. They just dripped talent. So
And it's fun. It's fun, so fun to see all those things come to life, right?
yeah,
To see
yeah,
them actually there. I mean,
Yeah.
just the detail on the door, the handles,
Yeah.
the speaker grills. I mean, it's just crazy. And I do. I'm serious. I absolutely love those cup holders. Now, I think the shift handle.
Yeah.
I wonder how many bets they were taking as to how many holes they could drill in it before it fell apart,
Yeah.
or just crushed in your hand.
That's the same one that's on the battery shutoff then too in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and it matches the steering wheel and with the holes and stuff also.
Now you've got the floating headrests.
Yes. Yeah. They're even adjustable here. You know, you can tip them and stuff, and they even got holes in the fire extinguisher bracket.
Oh, I see that up there. I mean, that's just everywhere.
Yeah.
All that. Oh man.
They are awesome.
The framework in the back, same thing for the holding the seat belts.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man, it is just
They are talented.
absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Well, it takes another talented guy to come up with the ideas,
It does.
right?
It does.
This. I mean, not one person.
No.
I
no.
mean,
Nobody builds a whole car by themselves. You need a lot of helpers.
you do.
You definitely need them. So yes.
So now in the back you've got some screens across, and those
For
would be
speakers, yeah.
for speakers. Okay.
Yep.
Now you've got like a secret door.
Yes. 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 It's
So-
just so the seat. You want me to run that or?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, okay.
of course.
So we just thought it was wasted space. So there's a linear actuator on the seat there.
It just pops that up so you can get at your storage. I love it. Just those little touches.
Yeah, those guys are talented. So yeah, all my helpers.
All right, so Rick, what an incredible car, right? You've got to have a ton of memories. So, what's just one of your memorable memories from this car?
Well, first time we won something with it.
Hey. And it stood out as being different than everyone else's car in the row, right?
And I realized I actually got pretty close to my goal.
Because I mean, you look up and down the row, and there isn't another one like yours,
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were after. Just,
which is awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
achieved your goal and your dream.
yes, what a feeling. Yeah.
So the question is, what comes next?
I'm not real sure yet.
Is this a project that ever ends?
Well, probably not.
Probably not.
But my helpers are probably thinking on stuff by now.
I'm sure they are. They probably need something more to do. It's like, come on, Rick, get us another car. Let's get going.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, we'll have to round something up.
Well, what a wonderful story. Wonderful car. I absolutely love the detail. What a creative brain you have.
Yeah, well, I don't know about all mine, but between me and all the helpers, I
Well, either you know how to pick your friends right, or you give them the right
Yeah.
beer. But either
yeah,
way,
yeah,
the results
Yeah.
turned out really good.
yeah. I got to give credit too to Shane Sherman from HM auto body. He's the one that grafted the nose on, and he
Oh,
was about ready to kill me about 10 times. He wanted to throw the hood away several times.
you know what? You look at the car, and if you didn't know better, you go, "Oh, it came that way from the factory." I mean, he did an absolutely outstanding job.
Yes, it is fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I,
awesome.
I really enjoyed that. So,
Rick, thank you so much for sharing your
okay.
time with us and your beautiful car.
Okay, well, thank you.
And thanks for watching.